All right, so let's get started lying on our backs, and you can have your knees bent and your feet flat on the floor. And just allow the backs of your body to get heavy. And as you breathe, allow the breath to be felt primarily in the front of the body, using a gentle stretch from the inside out. Good morning, Barbara.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm good. Do you
This
have
is
any
your new place.
for now, for this week?
Oh, where are you? Oh, you're
Uh,
in between.
yeah, yeah.
Uh,
Um, so we're starting off lying on our backs. Is there anything you'd like for your practice?
my entire back, but especially the left side, has almost been in spasm.
Okay.
It's I'm having a massage after this, and I'm not sure, I've been lifting, I've been packing, I've been lifting, I've been doing a lot of stuff that it was sort of felt like it was pinched or grabbing down by my waist, but
Okay.
now it feels worse. So
All right.
um, that I don't know what to do about it.
All right.
Really.
Well, why don't we start with breathing and trying to relax the muscles?
There,
A lot of
good
times with
idea.
packing and moving, we have our bodies in sort of um a stressed state where everything's contracted.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
then, yeah, I would say err on the side of less. Um,
Okay. I'm
but
also going to need to leave very promptly at like no later than quarter after because I'm going to be have my massages at 10:30.
okay, all right. Well, great. Well, I'm glad you could make it this morning.
Me too.
All right. So you just let your arms come out to the sides. And as you breathe in, invite the breath to inflate the front of the chest and the front of the shoulders. And as you breathe out, just visualize the arm bones getting heavy and relaxing into the floor. And you could do a couple of rounds of breath here with this and allow the head to gently flow from side to side. Maybe noticing if you're able to guide your head to the left or the right a little more easily. And then let the head rest in a comfortable position. And now as you breathe in, focus the breath on the back of the body. So as you breathe in, can you inflate the back side of the ribs? So you feel them expand and broaden and feel a little bit more of the floor contact. And then as you exhale, the breath releases and maybe some of those muscles can release as well. And just continue this ebbing and flowing of breath, using that breath and your intention of the breath to travel to areas that may benefit from a gentle stretch from the inside out. So maybe you want to direct the breath to the lower back. And as you exhale, intentionally softening and relaxing those muscles. So visualization can be really helpful, and perhaps assigning a color to the breath, a nice, soothing, healing color. And so as you breathe in, not only is the breath traveling to these areas of contraction or discomfort. There's areas that feel hot, perhaps visualizing a cooling color, maybe an icy blue color. Just take a couple more rounds of breath, visualizing this cooling color or healing color, traveling to any areas that are looking for a little more attention this morning. And when you're ready, you can draw that right leg in, just clasp behind the thigh and very gently begin to straighten the leg, a little flex of the foot and bend. Now, as we repeat this action, you may notice that the mind, the attention is more towards that right leg, but just check in with the neck and the shoulders and make sure that they can stay relaxed. And that might mean you need to adjust where the hands are. You might even use a tie instead of the hands if clasping the hands creates the shoulders to roll up. And next time that leg is extended, pause here and just gently press the back of the leg into the hands. Try to keep the shoulders in contact with the floor, relaxing and grounding there. You gently press the back of the head into the floor, inviting the neck to be long. You just circle out that right ankle. You know, it's amazing just if our feet are tight or if the weight is not balanced on the foot equally. This can have a ripple effect into the knees and the hip and the lower back. Let's take that circling of the foot in the other direction. Before we begin to stand on that foot, we get the ankle nice and warmed up, the joints lubricated with that synovial fluid. And then pause, cross that right ankle over the left knee, and you can rest your right hand on the thigh, the right shoulder still on the ground. And so it's just a gentle pressing of the hand into the leg, and then the leg is just gently resisting. Now feel the back of both hips staying connected to the floor. You can let your left hand rest on the belly and watch the ebb and flow of the breath. And release that. Lower the right foot to the floor and just notice if there's any subtle shifts, subtle differences in the two sides of the body. When you're ready, clasping behind that left thigh, begin straightening the leg, a little flex of the foot, and then you bend. And a gentle reminder to keep the shoulders relaxed on the mat. Let the breath set the pace of this movement. So when you inhale, the leg straightens. And there's no rush for the exhale. But when the exhale happens, the knee bends. And then you pause with the legs straight and gently press the back of the leg into the hands. The shoulders stay connected to the floor. And the breath stays easy. And then you can cross that left ankle. Oh, sorry, let's circle out that foot. Circling that foot, warming up the ankle. You might notice a little bit of sensation, maybe warmth along the shin and the calf. And then reverse the circling. And again, checking in with the breath. Sometimes when we start adding movement, we get distracted and our breath might become a little bit shorter, or we might hold our breath. Pause here, cross that left ankle over the right knee, and you're just gently pressing on that left thigh. So when we're busy, it's very common to forget the importance of the breath, but the breath sends a message to the nervous system. The nervous system is always eavesdropping on your thoughts and your breath. So when we do this intentional breathing, this nice, slow, mindful breathing, you may actually notice the shoulders relax, and you might even notice a sense of ease come into the body. And now release that left foot to the floor. Do a little check-in, noticing how the body feels. And let's take the arms out to the side. The palms float up. We have sort of a V angle of the arms. Heel toe the feet out to the edges of the mat. Let the knees follow. And then allow the knees to just gently flow from side to side. Now be mindful of the sensation in the knees. This action is coming from the hips. And so when the hips say, this is far enough, make sure the knees don't continue to draw closer to the floor. Now feel the connection between the back of the hips and the floor, and invite a gentle massage. So focusing on the heaviness of the back of the body, so that the front of the body can be light, fluid, and flexible. You can allow your head to go in the opposite direction of the knees. And just finish off one more round. You come back to the center. Heel toe the feet back to hips distance. And once again, draw that right leg in towards you. This time, extend the left leg long. And now allow that left leg to just sort of flow side to side in the hip socket. So you'll notice this, the foot drops out to the left and then points back up to the ceiling, but the action's coming from the leg bone in the hip socket. So we've talked before about how sometimes you can get sort of some stickiness in the joints from habitual movement. So this is gentle, just allowing the leg bone to gently move and encourage that stickiness to release. And now pause with the toes pointing straight up towards the ceiling. The leg is active. You're pressing out through the heel, flexing the foot. Now draw the belly button back and up. And then float that left leg off the floor, just about maybe 2 or 3 inches. Now keep the hips steady. Rotate the foot out to the side. So we were sort of flowing back and forth. Just rotate the leg out to the side. And then slide the leg maybe just a couple of inches. Again, you want to keep the hips steady. Rotate the foot back up to the ceiling and then slide it in. And then lower it down. And take a couple of breaths here. And then gently rock that right knee side to side. A gentle massage behind the back of the right hip if this feels good. And then let that right knee gently come across the body. This is, we're still early, so not coming too deep. That left hand is on the hip. Just gently press it away and maybe extend the right arm out. So inviting space along the right side of the body. And you can increase that space with intentional breathing. So visualize the breath traveling along the ribs, creating space. And as you exhale, relax that right shoulder, softening the muscles around the shoulder area. And then come back up to center. Give that knee a little hug. And now draw the left knee in to meet the right. Hands are on both knees and some gentle circles here. And so if the tailbone is sensitive, then you're not going to draw the knees so far away from you that you're putting pressure on it. You can keep your circles smaller and just find the pace and the range of motion that feels therapeutic to you. Now let's take this in the other direction. Just notice the jaw and the muscles of the face here. And invite ease and check in with the breath. And come back to the center. Lower the right leg to the mat and hug the left leg. Extend that right leg long and enjoy a couple of breaths, just allowing that leg bone to rest in the hip socket. Invite the muscles to find length without force. And then that leg bone just rolls gently in the hip socket with the intention of releasing contracted muscles and inviting space there. And then pause with the toes facing straight up to the ceiling. That right leg is active. Draw the belly button back and up. Float the right leg off the mat. Rotate the leg in the hip socket. Keep the hips steady. And just slide that right leg out to the right. Rotate the foot back up and slide it back to the center. And then lower it down. Coming into a gentle spinal twist when you're ready. That right hand. Gently encouraging space between the hip and the lower rib. The left arm is extended out, and as you exhale, the arm releases into the shoulder socket, giving the muscles an opportunity to find ease. Your next breath, and back to the center. The right knee draws in, Hands are on the knees, and this time you make circles away from each other. So this can be a nice opportunity for the hips to warm up. Again, you decide how big you want the circles. Try to keep the neck and the jaw relaxed. Let's take it in the other direction with those circles. And you pause, extend the feet towards the ceiling for a happy baby. You can start with your hands just behind the knees and just a gentle rocking here. And allowing the inner thighs a gentle stretch. Then draw the legs towards each other. Feet extend up towards the ceiling. Arms extend up towards the ceiling. Maybe just notice the blood flow traveling from the feet down to the hips, letting a sense of lightness through the legs. And then we can circle out the wrists and ankles once again. Just helping that circulation, that movement first thing in the morning. Take it in the other direction. And you pause here, draw the knees in towards you. Have your hands just on top of the knees. Have your shins at 90 degrees. And then you're going to press your hands into the tops of the thighs, just above the knees, but have the knees resist. So you're looking for a little engagement in the lower belly. You're going to draw the belly back and up. Imagine you have a block between your thighs, gently spinning the thighs inward. Now, can you relax the shoulders? Can you relax the neck? Now release the hands. Try to keep that action of engagement. Let the arms come down, palms face down this time. So you've got maybe 4 inches in between your thighs. Try to keep that space as you lower your knees towards the left. And you can, if it's comfortable, let that leg come all the way to the ground. Let the left leg come all the way to the ground. And then press up with the left leg. So you're feeling this engagement through the core. You can always press into your hands if you need a little boost. And then let the knees drop towards the right. Again, try to keep that space. Try to allow the muscle of that right leg to completely relax when it touches the ground. And then we turn it on, we activate it. And that right leg presses up. So you can do that a couple more times, just 2 times on each side. And just observe the subtle sensations as we do this slowly, mindfully. Watching when the muscles soften, how that feels. And then when they get turned on again. And again, the palms facing down is going to allow us to use our arms as sort of a prop. Because it can take a lot of effort to get the legs back up. Especially when we're doing this so slowly. Just meet up in the center when you've completed that. And hug the knees in. And then we'll transfer to table. So you can rock on up, or if you'd like to spin onto your side and roll up a little more gently. So coming onto hands and knees. Fingers are spread wide. Now imagine you're hugging your wrists and your knees towards each other. So you're shortening the mat. And then imagine you're stretching them apart. And then find the place in the middle. Toes are turned under. And let's take a few rounds. Coming into cat pose first. And this gentle rounding of the spine. And then on your inhale, the arch slowly ripples through the spine. You do this with your breath, setting the pace. Next time you're in your table pose, pause here. Extend the left leg back, keep it on the mat. And invite a gentle stretch to the calf. So core is engaged. Once again, the hip points narrowing and lower belly zips up. Your neck is relaxed. Your gaze is towards the floor. Float that left leg up. So just as we did lying down, let the leg just rotate out and then back to center. Inviting ease in the hip. And then pause with the toes facing straight down. You can extend that right arm. And then the option to bring elbow and knee towards each other. And then radiate it out. Now, one of the things to look for in this motion is not to overarch the lower back. So when you keep your core engaged, that will help avoid the overarching of the lower back. Next time you're extended out, just pause here. Lower the right hand to the mat and take that left leg over to the right. Look over the right side. This is a great configuration of your body to create space between the lower rib and the hip. Allow the breath to flow through the left side of the body. Relax the shoulders, relax the neck, relax the jaw. Come back to the center. Extend the right leg back and you do that gentle press and release. And you pause. Float the right leg up, hip points narrow, lower belly zipping up. Neck is relaxed as your gaze is to the floor. And then just allow the leg to rotate in the hip socket with the intention of releasing. Releasing holding patterns and inviting ease in the hip. And then pause with the toes facing straight down. And if you like, extend the arm. You can always do this just arm, just leg. Or you could do both. Focus right on we call it the hara center, right around the belly button. So moving from your core. Be careful not to lift and extend that back leg too high so that we strain the lower back. And next time you're extended long, pause here. Release that left hand down and then the right leg comes over to the left and we invite the breath to create space. You may find that when we use the breath to create the space, in between the joints and along the muscles. It's much more gentle. And the exhale is when the body receives the signal to let go. And come back to your table pose. And a little bit of freestyling movement. You can make hip circles. You could do your cat and cow, just whatever would feel right in your body this morning. Consider the neck as part of the spine, so allow the spine to be part of this movement too. You're doing hip circles, take it in the other direction. Come back to center. Toes are curled under. And you press the hips back, and then you can float the knees up. Call this crouching dog. And then let the backs of the legs gently lengthen. And then let the knees bend. And let them lengthen. 2 more times like this. The knees bend. And again, not forcing, just allowing the backs of the legs to lengthen. Last one. And knees come back to the mat. Into your Sphinx pose. You're on forearms and belly. If this is too much, then you can release your head to the back of the hands. Allow the weight to just gently rock from hip to hip. Inviting the front of the hips to find ease. And then pause. Invite the lower back to just settle into its natural arch. And just watch your body in this sort of subtle adjustments. Watch your body settle into this gentle therapeutic back bend. Now invite the elbows to hug in towards the hips and the chest to gently draw towards the wall in front of you. And now the shoulder blades glide down your back. And you're welcome to stay here. Come into a knee down forearm plank, or maybe a full-on forearm plank if that's what you're up for today. And now whether you're in Sphinx or a version of forearm plank, take a look to the left. And then back through center, take a look to the right, trying to keep the body stable and steady as you do that. And then back to the center. And then all the way down, setting up for Shalabhasana. So arms come along the sides, forehead to the mat. Legs come close together. Hips are heavy. Belly button engaged. And then float the legs off the mat. Lengthen the legs away from you and just notice if you can observe some space in the lower back as you do that. So find that right spot where you've got height, but you maintain the length. So that might mean you need to lower the legs. And then float the head off the mat. Just notice how this feels. And if any any shortness in the spine occurs, then you just lower down. I'm just adding on. You just stay where you feel this is beneficial. Maybe you lift the arms and the chest off the mat. But prioritizing length, prioritizing space. Notice the challenge in the breath. Try to maintain breathing in and out through the nose. And then release down. The hands make a pillow for the forehead, the knees bend. And allow the legs to just windshield wiper side to side. The thighs are heavy. And noticing the contact of the floor against the thighs. You can roll out your forehead on the back of the hands. A nice gentle massage across the top of the eyebrows. Also inviting the ease in the neck. Relax the jaw. And now the legs release down. Come back into your Sphinx pose when you're ready. Just notice if second time around this feels any different. Check in with the lower back, making sure it's still spacious. And that might mean you take your arms a little bit further away from you. Option to stay here or come into a variation of forearm plank. In forearm plank, we want to keep that Uddiyana Bandha. The hip points narrow and the lower belly zipping up. Gaze is towards the floor. And you can look right back through center and then look left. Back to center. Release down all the way for Shalabhasana setup. Legs are close together. Now this time we'll start with the upper body first. So the hips are heavy. Feet are flexed, so you can feel the tops of the feet pressing into the floor, letting a gentle stretch on the tops of the feet. So the head floats off the mat. Keep the neck long, gaze is to the floor. And maybe you lift up the arms as well. Once again, check in with the spine, making sure there's no compression, prioritizing length so the crown of the head is drawing towards the wall in front of you. And then perhaps the legs lift up as well. Notice if this round feels any different as you approach it from a different way. So many times the way we come into a pose can affect how that pose feels. The legs are close together. It's like you have one long tail. Observe the breath. Try to find ease. And release down. That resting pose where the hands create a pillow for the forehead and then the legs can find their gentle flowing. This can also feel kind of nice on the lower back too, releasing the hips. And now release the legs down. And take your right leg, the right knee guides it into half frog pose. I'll do my left side so you can see better. So the knee comes up towards the hip. The foot is angled out like a frog pose. And encourage that left hip to, the right hip to be heavy. So you might find there's a tendency for the weight to shift towards the left. Now, if you like, you could prop yourself up into Sphinx pose. That's not necessarily a more challenging or a better option. It's just different. Staying down low is going to be a little more restorative energetically. And just take a couple more breaths here. And then release the right leg back to meet the left. Check in, notice any difference in the two sides of the body. And then the left leg comes into half frog. Again, checking in with the weight. Noticing how where you shift the weight can change the sensations. Option to prop yourself up on your forearms if you like. When you're ready, release that left leg back to meet the right. And now extending the legs long. I'm sorry, extending the arms long overhead. Looking to gently roll from side to side. This can be very relaxing for the nervous system. And it can allow you to sort of organically open parts of the body that need to be opened. And if this doesn't sound appealing, you can sort of hang out in that belly down, call it prostration pose, and allow the breath to be guided by your intuition. Just a couple more rounds of breath here. And then we'll meet up belly down, sliding the hands under the shoulders, pressing up to table when you're ready. Toes are curled under, pressing the hips back, and then the knees float up. And then allow the legs to straighten. And then you bend the knees. Allow the legs to straighten. Notice the effect it has on the lower back. Just one more time, the knees bend. And then they straighten. And we'll pause here, just inviting maybe an alternate knee bend. You can always do child's pose if that seems like a better option. When you're ready, walking the hands back to the feet, letting the forearms come on the thighs, and the knees are gently bent. Invite ease in the lower back. Invite engagement in the lower belly. By hip points narrowing, lower belly zipping up. Imagine stretching the heels away from each other. You can take a look at your feet, making sure they're aligned and the weight is evenly distributed. And then bend your knees into your chair pose. Arms can reach forward. Again, Uddiyana Bandha, hip points narrow, lower belly zips up. And then inhale, you reach up. Take a gentle back bend. Allow the front of the body to find length. But once again, check in with the lower back, making sure it's not compressed. So visualize the tailbone drawing down towards the floor. And then exhale, fold halfway. Press the hands into the thighs. Nice long spine. And then bend the knees into your chair pose. Choose the right position for your arms. Uddiyana Bandha here. And then inhale, you reach up, stretch, gentle back bend. Imagine you're arching over a large beach ball. Exhale, you fold halfway. Inhale, press, lengthen, find space in the spine. Pause here, option to extend the arms forward. And then take a seat in your chair pose. Rise up, gentle back bend. Float your right wrist to the ceiling. Grab it with the left hand and stretch to the left. Let your gaze come to the floor. Inhale back up to center. Let's switch sides. Inhale back to center. Exhale, release the arms down. Just roll out the shoulders. Visualize them just rolling down your back. And then we'll make it to the, work your way to the front of your space. And we'll do a couple of warrior two sequences and then spend some time with triangle or Trikonasana pose. On your inhale, reach up and stretch, gentle back bend. On your exhale, fold halfway, press into the thighs, nice long spine. Now we're going to step the left leg back for warrior two. Take the time checking out that front knee, having it directed towards the second and third toe. Feel that stretch in the inner thigh. Think way back to that happy baby that we did earlier. You want to feel that stretching and lengthening in the inner thigh, and then a hugging up and engagement along the back. And just straighten that front knee. And as it bends, just watch how it tracks. And then you can let the arms travel up and extend out a little higher than shoulder distance. Your hips are facing the long end of your mat. Shoulders facing the long end. Knee faces the short end. Let your gaze look over the right fingertips. Float the palms up, and then you straighten and reach. Palms face down. You bend and lower. Flow with your breath. You're welcome to close your eyes if you like. Next time you're in your warrior two, pause here. Flip the right palm, reach up and back. And think about space between the ribs and the hip. Inhale through your warrior two. Keep going. If it works, hands come to the floor or block. Otherwise, you just step forward. The back leg lifts, you pause, and then lower that left leg to meet the right. Inhale, you rise, gentle back bend. It's also a good opportunity to have a chair if touching the floor is a little too far away. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, press into the legs, nice long spine. The right leg steps back for your warrior two. And check the knee. Straighten that leg. And as you bend it, just watch the traction. Hips are to the long end of the mat, shoulders to the long end. And then inhale, the arms reach up and extend out. Float the palms up, relax the shoulders. And then you straighten and reach. And then you bend and lower. Yeah, flow with your breath. Next time your knees bent, arms extended. Enjoy a pause. Feel the energy of this pose. Feel the lines of energy radiating through the fingertips. Flip the left palm, reach up and back. And inhale through your warrior two. Keep going. Hands can come to a chair or blocks. The back leg lifts. Then you lower it down. And then inhale, you rise. Gentle back. Let's go right into a forward fold. Then inhale, press into the legs. Nice long spine. Exhale, left leg steps back and you open right into your warrior two. Inhale, straighten and reach. Exhale, bend and lower just 3 times. And we'll pause after the third round. You can feel the line of energy. So from the center of the chest, stretching out through the fingertips. So not necessarily stretching from shoulder to fingertips. Feel the stretch right from the center of your body. And then hands come to the hips. Dial the back foot in a turn. Get a little shorter stance. That right hand comes either above or below the knee. Pressing the hand into the leg into the hand as it straightens. Roll that left hip back. Let the ribs follow, let the shoulder follow. Now find a comfortable position for the neck. Maybe it's looking towards the floor, maybe the horizon, maybe up to the ceiling. And perhaps extend that left arm. How can you feel the lines of energy here? Can you feel your core engaged? Belly button draws back and up. Shoulders draw towards each other. And then enjoy another breath. And then you bend that front knee, rise up. Flip that front palm and reverse. Inhale through your warrior two. You keep going. Hands come to the floor or the chair. The back leg lifts. And then you lower it down. Inhale, you rise. Gentle back bend. Exhale right into your forward fold. Inhale, press into the legs. Exhale, right leg steps back. Right into your warrior two. Second round. Flow in and out for 3 rounds. You pause. Flip the front palm. Oh, sorry. Hands come to the hips. Dial the back foot in. Take that hand either above or below the knee. And you gently straighten that left leg. And notice this side might feel different. Roll the right hip, the ribs, and the shoulder back. Engage the core. Maybe that right arm extends. And just notice where your neck feels at ease. Just a couple more breaths. See if you can find a little more space. And then you bend the front knee, rise up. flip the left palm in reverse. And the inhale takes you back through your warrior two, windmilling the hands to the floor, blocks or chair. Step the right foot down. Inhale, you rise, gentle back bend. On your exhale, fold forward once again. Press into the legs, nice long spine. On your exhale, left leg steps back for warrior one. So this time we have the hips facing forward. So just notice how this feels along the hips, along the lower back. Straighten the right knee. As you bend the front knee, press into the back heel. Arms rise. Think tailbone long. And then flow in and out of this. As you bend the knee, the arms reach up. As you straighten the arms lower. Now, as you bend the knee, keep the core engaged. Once again, careful not to overarch the lower back. Next time you're in your warrior one, pause here. You're welcome to stay here or transition to warrior three. Warrior three, you could take the hands to the hips. Begin to shift the weight forward. Great place for a chair. Float the back leg up. Drop the hips. So Uddiyana Bandha here. Hip points narrow, lower belly zips. And then release to the front. Root down through the legs. Inhale, you rise. On your exhale, you fold halfway. Pressing into the legs, nice long spine. On your exhale, right leg steps back. Straightening the left knee. As you bend the left knee, press into the right knee. Arms rise up. And you flow in and out. Being careful not to overarch the lower back. Pause in your warrior one. And an option for warrior three. Hands can come to the hips. You shift the weight to the front leg. The back leg just floats up as the front leg straightens. And then you drop the hip. What you might notice is the core engages as you do that. Rooting into that left heel is going to activate the left glute. And you release to the front. Last round, inhale, reach up, stretch, gentle back bend. On your exhale, fold halfway. Inhale, press into the legs, nice long spine. On your exhale, step back to plank or come into table pose. Slide the shoulders in front of the fingertips. So slide them forward and then the elbows bend. And then come into a back bend of your choice. Maybe it's up dog, maybe it's sphinx. And just enjoy a couple more breaths here. And then press back to your downward dog. Again, any sort of intuitive movements. You could also have this in child's pose where you're letting your hips just gently rock from side to side. And then we'll all meet up in table pose and transition onto our backs. So if you've got a tie handy, you can grab your tie. We'll start with knees bent, just as we did in the beginning. And perhaps notice if your body feels any different. Same position, but sort of a before and after observation. When you're ready, that right leg comes in, and you can take the tie on the ball of that leg, extend it up to the ceiling. Let the tie come in the right hand, the left hand's on the left hip. Straighten that left leg if you like, and then release that right leg out to the right. Keep that left hip grounded. And then you use that tie to bring the right leg up. Switch the tie in the left hand. You can take that leg across the body. If you've got a block that you could rest that right leg on, that might feel kind of nice. Allow your body to receive this pose. Let it settle into openness, spaciousness. And inhale. Bring that leg back up to center. Give it a little hug. Maybe gently rocking it side to side. And then lowering the right leg to the mat. Drawing the left leg in. The tie comes onto the ball of that left foot. Tie in the left hand, right hand on the right hip. And then let that left leg release out to the left. And inhale back through center. Comes in the right hand, and let that leg come across the body for your spinal twist. Again, having a block to land it on can be kind of nice. Invite that left shoulder to find ease. Maybe adjust the positioning. So there's no necessary holding patterns in the muscles around the shoulder. And inhale back up to center. And draw the knee in and maybe gently rocking it side to side. That right leg can be extended long if you haven't already done it. And release the left leg to the mat. And just notice if there's any final poses or movements you'd like to take. Maybe sliding a block under the hips and extending the legs up. And whenever you feel ready, there's no rush, whenever you feel ready for your final pose of Shavasana, final integration, slowly transition there. Shavasana, the ultimate pose of receiving. And not only does the breath provide a nice tool for anchoring your attention, but the breath informs the nervous system. So I invite you to use intentional breathing with the exhale a little longer than the inhale. And if you found the visualization of the color and inviting the breath and the color to travel to the areas of aches or pains. Body follows the mind. So first we visualize this, and then we visualize the muscles softening, receiving healing, and then allow the body to follow the mind. Allow your next breath to be a little longer, a little deeper. You can invite gentle movements maybe into your fingers and toes. You allow your head to gently flow from side to side. Just be curious about the sensations you feel in your body in this gentle transition to movement. When you're ready, you can slowly transition to your side. Enjoy a pause and a moment of reflection and gratitude for your practice and the ability to cultivate your own healing and ease. When you're ready, you can slowly transition up to seated. If you'd like to join me in a chant of Om, take a deep breath in. Namaste.
Stay.
Namaste.
Thank you guys.